thank you to all of the sponsors that we have. I mean, this event wouldn't have been able to be pulled off with the speed with which we pulled it off and to the extent with which we pulled it off without everyone on here. So if we can give them a round of applause, that would be amazing. So Jeff just walked you through what our team looks like and the genesis for how we all came together, which was really interesting. I'm glad he kept those pictures because I remember being on streams with him before we even started doing all this, just pushing out the idea, would this even be something that we were interested in? And there wasn't a single person that wasn't completely excited to do this. I mean, it's just been the ride of a lifetime for us. And even back then, we knew that even if this was just us talking, right, there's value in surrounding yourself with good people and people who are interested in different topics than you are, even the same topics than you are with a different perspective. And it creates something really special. And for us, that's the retail community. The whole retail community here is really what came out of the True North efforts. And I titled this one Conviction as a Service for that exact point, because I think that that is one of the most important roles that we play as a retail investing community. When we talk about all the other people that are looking at this investment and are looking at whether or not to get in, and they're scared and they don't understand, and you get the drawdowns because, as we've all learned, volatility doesn't only go up, it goes down too. This is what you need. You need conviction out there in the market. And that comes from the people in this room. And when you think about retail, it's got a stigma to it. Anybody that you talk to out there, retail kind of becomes the heel in the investing community. They always call it dumb money. These are the kids that are using their last, $100 to YOLO on deep out of the money options. No offense, Mason. This is the view that they've given to them. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Retail investing is simply the collective of all of us. And everybody in the retail community comes from an incredibly diverse background. We've got doctors, we have bankers, we have lawyers, we have business owners, we've got more entrepreneurs than I can count now that I've met. I mean, the people that are represented in the retail community are anything but uneducated in what they're investing in. And I think that this is one of the things that we're trying to change when we talk about this. When people look at what we're doing here and they look at all the engagement that's coming out of this, start to meet all of you and see that there's this big community that's building around itself and reinforcing itself and getting bigger and bigger, is that we are not what's depicted in that first picture. We do know what we're investing in, and we have reasons why we're in it, and we'd love to tell you, right? That's one of the things that retail can really bring. So if you think about retail as a strategic advantage for a corporation, nobody's going to understand this quite like strategy's going to. And it's different than what you saw with GameStop. GameStop was the first company that you saw where there was a huge retail movement behind it. But that one was really grounded on a single event, right? That was grounded on we're going to squeeze the hedge fund, and we're all going to make a ton of money on our options. That was where they came together. But that was sort of the foundation for what amplification had. I don't know if I'm cutting out or not here, but voice doesn't carry as tomorrow if you're coming and talking to me. But the amplification of your retail investing community is what helps you spread your they're investing in. But corporations bring that to. And usually that's around events like what we just saw, where you start doing the education. There we go. It's not going to double mic me, is it? All right. We're not ready for double mics here. The other thing that the retail community brings that's really important when you're a corporation, and particularly when you have a volatile equity, is clarity. They're the ones that are out there in the market helping people understand what's even happening. This isn't coming from the analyst reports that you see out of the big banks anymore. That's how it used to be. Everyone always had to wait for one of these big banks to initiate coverage from the research desk, and they'd be the one to tell you what's going on. But information is moving at such a fast speed now. And that's because we've got the ability to engage directly. And we can engage directly with the corporations that we're passionate about. We're all here because we're all invested in strategy, or we're all interested in strategy or the corporate adoption of Bitcoin. That's what brought us here to this room. But when we're not in this room, we're constantly engaging. And this is all across the internet. It's on Twitter. It's on YouTube. It's all over the place. And that helps to bring that message out. And when the companies bring us a clear message that we can deliver to the market, we're able to push that in a way that they cannot do organically on their own, which is incredibly powerful. And the last one, which really comes into the conviction story, is what happens when retail's willing to defend you. When they believe so much in what it is that you're building and the way that you're positioning it, and you've helped to talk them through and educate them on what the foundation is that's being built. What does it look like when you've got an engaged retail community defending your equity in the markets? And that part is powerful, and we've all seen it, because when strategy has the highs, you can make more friends just by mentioning that you were involved with strategy. But when it crashes, that's when you really get tested. That's when it tests your resolve. And what do you really believe about this company? And the communities that are out there pushing that and defending what's happening and educating on what's actually driving all of this is what keeps those investors staying the course on what they originally believed. They need someone that can partner with them to continue to drive that conviction, to remind them why they got into this trade in the first place, so that you don't jump out of it at the first sign that something's shaking. So when you think about the companies and what is their involvement in this, we've had an amazing model here. We've been really spoiled, because when you're an organization that's going down a completely new path, something that was unheard of before, you're going to capitalize a company on Bitcoin, you're going to leverage it, you're going to use convertible bonds. Your first opportunity to engage with your retail community and make them strategic to your plans is take the time to educate them. And that is exactly what we saw in this last earnings release. It's what we've seen back in November when we were all so excited when they finally went into great depth about what they were doing and why they were doing it. That initial education is what sets that foundation so that we can all continue to push and advocate for them. They're giving us the amount of information that we need so we can be educated on this, and we can dig down into the second order and third order impacts of what it is that they're doing. But these companies also need to listen. They need to listen to their retail community. Because as we mentioned earlier, this is not an unsophisticated group. These are people that are truly doing the work to understand what's happening. And when they're seeing issues or things that they're not liking, you have to listen to them and you have to engage with them. You have to be willing to put yourself out there, and you have to be willing to answer the hard questions that they're throwing at you. We just saw an example of that. We've all seen all the noise that comes out around the ATMs with strategy. People are worried about dilution. They don't understand it. We'd be at $3,000 a share right now if they just never used the ATM. And what did they put directly into that presentation? It was an entire slide about the benefits that this brings and why it's accretive to the business and why it's such an important tool for a business to have and to be able to utilize and execute on this strategy with. That type of listening to the voice of the retail customer, hearing what they're saying, understanding what their concerns are, it puts you in a different category of company. Because most of the organizations that you would invest in, if you had one of those traditional 60-40 companies and you weren't all, we're all insane in here apparently. If you weren't in this company and you were in Coca-Cola or you're in Pepsi or you're in any of the other ones, they're not going to give you the same level of transparency. They don't put the exact roadmap and the exact strategy of what they're doing and the reasons why in front of you. You don't know. So all you're left to interpret is financial results and maybe some articles that come out after. But if they don't have this type of community, that's as far as it's going to go. Recognizing them, this one, here I am, right? We are the retail community, and this is the ultimate recognition you can get when you're out there championing one of these companies. It's so powerful to bring these communities in and show them that you understand that this is a partnership, right? We're all owners in this company. And that's something that's forgotten a lot, right? Retail gets forgotten, it gets pushed to the side. But when you recognize them, it builds that conviction that they have, and it makes them want to push further for you. And the last one is you have to deliver for them. When you tell them what you're going to do, you need to be willing to do that. You have to deliver on the promises that you're making. And that type of transparency and then execution really builds the foundation for a community that's going to be long-standing. So this is the number of retail accounts that were invested in strategy. And this one really blew my mind initially. 814,000 is a significant amount of retail accounts. And it shows the amplification that's happened around this equity and that's brought so many people to it. But I wondered what this would really look like if you started thinking about how does retail partner as a market amplifier for a company? And so I looked at it another step further and said, all right, let's assume that half of those accounts, people have 2 accounts, right? There's duplicates. We'll bring it down to 400,000 individuals. What happens if just 2.5% of those retail shareholders decide to become actively engaged publicly around this equity? That results in 10,000 people that are out spreading the strategy, pushing forward your plans, helping to decipher what you're doing as a business. That is a powerful number of people. And actually, I think it's low. Because as we've all seen, and with what we're all doing on social media, we've seen what this reach can really look like. And so 10,000, I think, might be low because I've seen so many people engaging in this equity in a way that I've never seen for any other company. Tesla, GameStop, it's totally different because this is a different type of retail audience that has truly bought in and decided to publicly go out and push this message forward. And the last one, and why this matters, is I pulled out the total sales and marketing employees that strategy has. And at the end of last year, that was 295. So if you have 10,000 people that are willing to be on your team, that are willing to push forward for you, what does that do to your efforts? It amplifies your message in such a big way. Just with the numbers we use, that would be a 33.9 times amplifier effect for marketing. That is a huge number of eyeballs that can be drawn into your company. It's what makes it so powerful to engage and empower a community to build behind you and push for you, because this is the type of reach that you can't get on your own. You're not going to get that same excitement if you're out talking about business intelligence platforms or any of the other products that other companies offer, because this is special to the investing community. They're the ones that have financially aligned themselves with you, where they've tied their future to your future. And because of that, they want to be out there actively pushing and making sure everyone else knows what they know. Very powerful. So what does amplification look like? Quite frankly, amplification's in this room with us. You've got LaDozier sitting back here who's been putting out amazing articles. Those AI images he creates are incredible, right? When Saylor embraced him, that's what it looks like to engage with retail. You've got Gladiator in here. Most of you know Gladiator. You've got Peter DeWatt. We've got so many people in this room that are all parts of making all of this happen, right? That's what makes this special, is people are building around you. We talked about the ecosystem before, and this is what that looks like when it starts to expand, right? It's logo makers that are running wild out there where people are out creating their own versions of the strategy logo and branding themselves with it. It's all the Discord communities and the websites that are getting stood up at the podcasts. And up there, you've got Tim Kotzman interviewing Fong Li, which got over 1 million views. That is incredible reach. When you're willing to have your executives go out into the market and push forward with your retail community. That's engagement, and that's embracing the retail community around you. This is also why it's important. How many of us have been on this ride before, huh? I don't do a lot of technical analysis on charts, but this one I was pretty passionate about getting done because I've been on the receiving end of all of these. So when you think about conviction as a service, and that service coming from your retail community, it takes this emotional roller coaster right here, and it turns it into this, where you strip out the noise in the community. You get rid of all the fear that people are feeling, the uncertainty around the investments that they've made, and you take out the noise in the equity and the movements in a stock, which is designed to move, and we all know that inherently. But you show them this, which is constant building. They're building that intrinsic value of each one of your shares, and they're continually improving what you had the week before, it seems. I think every Monday now, it seems like we get an announcement. We're very spoiled. But this is what you're seeing. So when the markets are testing you and testing your patience, this is what the retail community is here to remind people. That we understood the strategy, we bought into the strategy, and we're going to strip out the noise of what we see in the day-to-day, and we're going to keep people aligned to the long-term picture here. We know what we're building around, we know what we're capitalizing on, and that's why this works. So, conviction as a service is delivered by retail. This is the group companies need to engage. This is the secret weapon for any company that's looking to transform themselves and turn their equity into one of their products. You need people that are going to calm the storms for you. You need people that are going to amplify the signal and the strategy, and you need people that have low time preferences that are willing to stay the course with you. So, thank you all very much.